George Michael is with me in the studio, ostensibly to bring to your attention the release of White Light. Astonishingly, it's a single that it's the 30th anniversary of Wham Rap. That makes me feel old. God knows how it makes you feel.
Well, it actually just makes me feel incredibly privileged 30 years later that people can give a shit. You know what I mean? I think it's amazing.
Still got it.
Oh, you've still got it.
But
never lost it.
But increasingly concerned, as we learned just before the news, that by sort of events outside the music industry. Before we get back to that, you mentioned that one of the reasons why you're able to record records, make public statements, and indeed draw attention to yourself for causes that you believe in is because you don't have children. Is that something you regret, or was it just never on your radar at all?
Well, it was actually on my radar. I don't regret it. I tell you what, I envy good parents, because good parents, I think, the joy of children and then the joy of grandchildren is something that I will never know. And
it's not too late. I mean, obviously the name that pops into people's heads at this point in this conversation is Elton John.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Kate Moss.
Who stars in the video, but I think her being a parent is slightly less surprising than Elton John.
Yeah, I think it's, I do... As I get, as I approach my 50th year, which is I was 49 a couple of weeks ago.
Congratulations!
And congratulations on actually getting to the 49. But I do envy good parents, because I think the joy of children, if you're a good parent, is incomparable, really. But unfortunately, most people are not very good parents. They're just average parents, and I don't actually envy their experience, because I think in those situations, the joy is balanced with anxiety and worry and never having a decent night's sleep, I don't envy that.
You had good parents yourself?
Yeah, put it this way. People to try and when people ask me what my class is, because it's my accent doesn't really give away my class. The truth is, to me, I had a working class upbringing, not just because we didn't have any money, but because my parents were tired and exhausted and angry a lot of the time. And then, as life got better, they got better. My mother, we didn't have a bad word said between us in the last, say, 20 years of her life, And my God, if she could have been that person when I was a child, then I don't think I would be a star today. Do you know what I'm saying?
Because you would have not needed
I would
attention?
not have needed the affirmation, But you see, the trouble is...
That's really interesting that you break it down like that, because they were so big. Were they running a restaurant? Was it?
My dad ran a restaurant. My mother was a telephone operator during the day.
Full on.
We lived in a house that cost $4,000, Right. It was not unusual in those days, but we had no money. But my father worked hard enough to get us into a middle class area, and I will always thank him for that, because my mother, bless her heart, was so disinterested in money that she didn't even want to move from that house. Really, it really nearly split them up. She was so content with her friends and her experience, her house and everything. My father, being very typically first-generation immigrant, just wanted us to move up,
Constantly.
He just wanted aspirational, upwardly mobile existence. And I thank him for that, because I'm like my mother, and I would have never chased that. But the truth was, he worked hard enough so that I actually could genuinely dream of the things that I've done now.
And have you done them all?
I think I probably have, and I have to look for new things. But I don't. What is amazing about this year and the recording this year is I feel totally as though I'm starting again at 30 years. I
think it comes across, I think there is a sense of joy and discovery. Would that be?
I hope that comes across in the single. I started out when I first wrote it. I thought, can I be this corny to go, I'm alive. But actually, when I thought about it, there was nothing wrong with that. It was absolutely what I felt. You know, it was an absolute
That's
joy.
the point, isn't it? It can't be corny if it's completely sincere. It's only if you're forcing it that
and
it becomes...
it really surprised me how many people thought it would be a ballad. I nearly died. I nearly died.
A brand new combine obviously on the B-side.
But it wasn't, you know, it really, I knew that something good was going to come out of it. I had no idea until I actually wrote it that it would be something this celebratory, you know. And then I think the whole motivation, you can see it in the video, you can see it in everything. I'm kind of re-energized, you know.
You are, on an equally cheerful note, you're doing the Olympics closing ceremony.
Yes, I am not supposed to say so.
Oh, you're not?
But they
Sorry.
seem to be busy telling
Somebody
the whole
told me, George,
yeah, I
so
know.
it can't be the best kept secret in the world.
It's hardly the best kept secret. It's just that, to be honest with you, they've been so painful.
Right.
In terms of...
So you're currently doing the Olympics closing ceremony.
Yes,
I don't know what the next 2 minutes of dialogue might do to that situation.
They've been the actual organisation of it. They've been so painful. If you'd seen the contract that they asked people to sign,
right,
it's actually not surprising that some of the people that I would have expected to be on the bill aren't.
It wasn't written by G4S, was it? This contract it wasn't written by the security.
I don't think so. But whoever it is, they've been incredibly undiplomatic, and you know, it's been very. You know that what's that program 2012?
Yes, the Olympics.
The Olympic things like
it's all coming true.
Yes,
you sure yesterday
true.
The bus got lost for 4 hours with the American athletic team on it?
No way.
So you had the 400 metre hurdler tweeting from a bus. Well, it's supposed to be a journey from Heathrow to the Olympic Village in East London, and he was on a bus for 4 hours.
Oh my God!
It is beyond parody. How do you write a satire when that's happening in real life?
You know, we have a terrible tradition in this country in the last 20 years of whenever something huge happens, you get this committee thing where everything gets screwed up. I mean, look, it's now a lovely arena, but look at the farce and the money that was spent on the Millennium.
Yes, you're absolutely
and how
right.
poorly it was spent.
It is. Fun by committee is never going to be a winner. But are you presumably you're looking forward to the Olympics? Are you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm incredibly honoured
because again, that British press thing, lining up to start pouring mud all over it and getting miserable. It's a time for optimism.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's very unfortunate that at a point in time where so many people are really on their knees financially. That we've also had to deal with the worst summer on record. It's a really grim time for this country, and I think that we should at least try and make the most of the Olympics, you know. And I'll do my best to make the most of it.
Paint your smile on.
Yeah, no, I don't need to paint my smile on because the committee is one thing, the public is something else, and also I'm really excited that the floor of the Olympic Stadium, when I'm performing, is going to be full of the athletes that took part. The actual seating area is all public or public/corporate, right?
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Uber public.
Yes, Uber public. Yeah, that arrived in their Uber BMWs on the Uber lane. You know, it's those people are one, but the people,
everybody else. Though.
Yeah, everybody else, and I'm sure the athletes will be a great audience. You know.
George Michael, that is probably the quickest 27 minutes I've ever spent on the radio. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that I've waited 28 years to conduct this interview.
Really?
So thank you very much.
It's
indeed
my pleasure.
For your
my
time.
pleasure.
And the new single White Light, is it out now? The video's released today.
Yeah. The single's not out for a couple of weeks. The single's coming out on the night of the Olympic show.
Okay.
But until that date, it's all up there on YouTube, and the video is now available on YouTube.
Yeah, I had a look at it just before we came on air, and it is an absolute cracker. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, no, thank you. You are listening to James O'Brien on LBC 97.3. It's 10:28.